Greetings and welcome to Nathan Lyle Official, and if you have never seen my face before in a video, I am Nathan Lyle. This is my personal channel, and the playlist you are on right now is called Anime Corner. If you don't know what Anime Corner is, at the end of a simulcast season, I talk about all of the different anime that I watched. This specific video is about school anime, in which either the main characters are teenagers or the majority of the show takes place at a school. And so we begin with Classroom Crisis, which happens like somewhere long in the future. Technology's advanced, we're living on Mars, and this takes place in a place called A-TEC. And it's about a guy and his students who are also the workers who at the company, and they're developing this new engine, and then they get a new student who is also their boss, responsible for making sure they disband because they spend too much money, and so the funding is being pulled because corporate's like, we don't need them anymore, and blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff happening here. Honestly though, this is possibly my least favorite of the entire simulcast. I don't know, it's just, there's not a single character in here that I can really identify with. There's not a single person that I really felt like was worth rooting for. It's one of those anime that I could barely force myself to finish, and only because there was just enough intrigue and just enough suspenseful moments that I was like, I am curious about what happens next, and if I don't finish it now, I'm never gonna finish it. Because I do not ever plan on going back and watching through the series again. So I figured one episode a week is about all I can take. It's just, I'm not even necessarily saying it's a bad anime. I just felt so disconnected from all these characters. It just, nothing about it really grabbed me. Really, it was never, at no point in time was I ever watching this anime thinking, oh my god, I have to see the next episode. When is it? I can't wait for next week. That thought never entered my head when I was watching this at all. And then you have Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma, and this is continuing from the previous simulcast. If you haven't heard of it, basically there's a kid named Yukihira Soma who he and his father own this little small town diner until dad says, I'm shutting down the diner and sending you to this exclusive private school. And it's a foodie show. That's really all it is. It's a Food Network show where every episode they make a new dish, they explain how it was made, and I don't know why it's so good, but for some reason it just is. It's an amazingly well made anime with some hilarious animation, some really great characters, and it's easy to find myself rooting for certain people. I mean, it's very well made, incredibly well put together. I've enjoyed it since episode 1. If you haven't looked at it yet, it is definitely worth checking out. The biggest thing though, if you're going to watch this, always eat a full meal before you turn this on. You need to go in there with a full stomach. Hell, eat a little too much and get yourself a stomach ache, and then watch it, okay? You cannot watch this with any room left in your stomach at all. Otherwise, you're going to make some mistakes that you might end up regretting. And next we move on to Denpa Kiyoshi, Ultimate Otaku Teacher, which this one as well, continuing from a previous simulcast. And I don't know, it's one of those things that it started off a little interesting, but it just seems to kind of trail off. It's got a fairly repetitive storyline. Basically, it's almost kind of like a Monster of the Week story, except the monster is always a teenager in high school. It's like it stars Junichiro Kagami, who calls himself a YD, which means he can only do something if he truly yearns to do it. So basically he created a brand new term just to describe his laziness, and he ends up being a school teacher, and now he's giving life lessons to his students using, and he has all these fun, interesting, creative ways to do it and whatnot. I mean, I don't know, it has its moments, but it was never that amazing. Most of these characters aren't really that memorable. Nothing about it really sticks to my head. Like, it's good enough to watch. I can sit through it, but I don't necessarily think I'd recommend you to go look at this. You know, there are others out there that are better. It's a decent show, but it's not amazing. Then there's Actually I Am, and it's a show. It's a harem anime first and foremost. So I know there are a lot of people out there who are just like, oh, harem, fuck that, I'm gone. So right off the bat, this is a harem anime, and it's actually a very simplistic harem anime. It's got one of the classic tropes with like these, you know, mystical creatures. It starts with a kid. He's in high school, and he's known as the leaky basket of Kuromine-kun. And he's, well, long story short, you know, he wears his emotions on his face. Everyone can always tell exactly what he's thinking. He cannot keep a secret to save his life. Until one day he walks into a classroom hoping to confess to the girl he likes, and sees her there with a pair of wings in her back. And that's how he finds out that she's secretly a vampire. And as the show goes on, he finds out that there are more girls at the school who have secrets just like her. This entire school is full of freaky creatures who are all females and all happen to fall in love with him. And it makes no sense, but I think this one is fairly well done compared to others. Is there fan service? Yes, it does appear, but it's usually not like blatant and in your face, except for a few specific places where there was a purpose for it, for why they did it. It's mostly just kind of cutesy in like almost a school kid kind of way. Just, you know, you got these two people these two high school kids who suck at life, and they're just trying to figure shit out, and it just happens that you know, this one's a monster and there are all these other creature things out here. And it's a pretty decent one. I can't say that everyone will love it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. As far as, I mean, it's definitely not the best anime out there, but as far as harem anime, I think it's one of the better, it's one of the better ones, because it's got a storyline that's actually worth paying attention to, and it's not just, oh, boobies bouncing for 30 minutes. It's a pretty okay show. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is Rin-Ne, this one as well, continuing from the previous simulcast, and it's about a girl who sees a ghost, and one day she has a classmate who's half Shikigami, and so he's guiding spirits to the afterlife, and she decides to start helping him. And I don't know, it started off with potential, but the longer I watch it, the less I like it. You know, there are so many times where the story just trails off into something else. There are a lot of hilarious fucking moments. There are a lot of things here and there that make it worth watching. But as a whole, when you look at the entirety of the series, it's just not really worth sitting through, and I can't necessarily recommend it to anyone. I mean, it seems like in general, most of these shows just don't feel like they're worth watching, except, you know, my number one favorite would absolutely be Shokugeki no Soma. That's easily the best one from this segment. If you can only check out one, if you only have half an hour before you get to work, then just go ahead and pop that in. Make sure you have a snack first. And then the only other one I might actually recommend is Actually I Am. Other than that, I'd say, you know, if I have to round it out, make a top 3, I'd say I'll put Ultimate Otaku Teacher at number 3, mostly just because of a lack of competition. The others just aren't even worth looking at. So that's it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. Have you seen any of these anime? If not, do any of them sound interesting? Are you planning to watch some of them? And be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the videos in Anime Corner. And until the next time you see me in a video, my name is Nathan Lyle. This is Nathan Lyle Official. Have a great day.